welcome everybody, and I hope you enjoy the event.
Okay. Thanks. Thank you. First thing I want to talk about tonight is how to turn down women for sex. That's going to be the thing I'm going to talk about for the next half hour. I'm just kidding. That's not what I'm talking about. But if you assimilate or if you will accept a different take, a different perspective on this whole meeting and attracting women thing, that could be a high quality problem for you later on, having to turn women down. We kind of joke about it because once you understand what I'm talking about, it's actually so simple that it's almost too easy. That's another thing we always say, it's almost too easy. So I think it's important to figure out, for you guys to know where I started. So I started in the very traditional way. So I had very little success with women, and I didn't really know anyone who had any success with women, and everything I did was the traditional way. So I was, taught, man chases woman, and we have to go after them, and we have to impress them in some way, and then we have to get them to like us, keep us interested. We have to get their phone number. We have to call them up. We have to invite them out on a date or something, and that's kind of how I operated. And so, but I wasn't very successful at it. I was, sporadically successful, I say. So once in a while I'm really on, and the other times I'm not. I'm really bad. So I decided. So everything started happening to me. So I was getting rejected. I have all the same problems. It's being shy, not being able to know how to approach, not to know what to say next, getting very nervous, and then feeling very bad afterwards if someone weren't interested in me. So I have a very unusual path that I've taken to teaching what I'm teaching. So I decided that I was going to then master the art of pursuing women. So I was going to figure out what the secrets were, and so I did it, again, the traditional way, becoming, a master pursuer, right? So a guy who knows how to pursue women, and I would get thousands of phone numbers and try to talk girls into all kinds of stuff, and it just was a matter of, I increased the amount of times that I did things. So in other words, I just started going out every night and approaching 10, 15, 20 different women and getting phone numbers and calling them and trying to figure out how to get them on a date or how to get them over to my apartment or whatever. But what happened was, the only reason that I became a little bit more successful is because I increased the numbers. All the other stuff was still happening to me. So I was still getting rejected. I was still getting what you guys might call blown out or frozen out or whatever. Women would roll their eyes. They weren't interested. They would turn around. They would say they're leaving with a friend, and all that kind of stuff that happens. And it was so. I decided that it was all too much work. So because I was collecting all the phone numbers. I had them all in my pocket. I was trying to sort them out later, and then I had to figure out, what do I say when I call him on the phone, and how can I be more interesting than another guy who might be calling them, and all this crap. And I thought, I'm lazy. I'm pretty lazy. I want to do things the easy way. So I had this crazy idea that maybe I could do things sort of backwards and flip the script a little bit and do a little bit less work, but have the women come after me and chase me. So. And it was just an idea at first. It was just a theory that I had that I wanted to then go out and test. So I started going out, and I still approached women. Okay, still approached women, but then instead of asking for women's phone numbers, I started giving them my number, just to see what would happen, just to see if it's a numbers game anyway. I'd already proved the fact that if you go out and get enough phone numbers, you just do the math. You will eventually get a certain amount of girls. You will get laid. You will get all this stuff. So I thought, well, if that's the case, if it's just a numbers game, then why don't I just give my number to them and do absolutely no work? And if they call me, then it'll still be the same thing if I give it out enough times. If I give out 100 or 200 phone numbers, it's going to work eventually. And that sounds like a lot better deal to me, because I know that when a woman reaches out to you, most of the time they're fairly interested, because it takes a lot for them to reach out to you, because that's not how they're programmed. We're always chasing them. So I started doing it, and it started working very slowly, but it started working, and then I thought, oh, this is great. So this is a new way, a much easier way. I don't have to, I didn't have to maintain those relationships anymore. Because even if you become good in the traditional art of picking up women or being a pickup artist or pursuing women, at a certain level, if you become really successful, it's a tremendous amount of your time and energy will be taken up in maintaining that success. Does that make sense to you? So all the things that you have to do, right? Because you can't just, if you're chasing them, you can't stop chasing them. It doesn't work like that. You have to keep chasing them. So even to keep it going, even if you would hook up with the same girl over, you have to keep making it happen instead of it coming to you. And that's just far too much work for me. I thought, I'm just a lazy guy. I just don't want to do that work anymore. I want to be able to have women reaching out to me and coming after me, and then I just want to be able to choose if I want to hang out with them or I don't want to hang out with them. And so I started down that road, and I started perfecting that and figuring out what does it take to take that to the next level. And at first it was all techniques. It's all technique driven. It was how to give out my number, what to say, how to do it, when, and then what to do when they call you. And then I decided to figure out how to make that better. So I decided to create the inner game part of it. So because for most guys, when they hear, well, women are not really going to chase you. I mean, they're not programmed to chase guys. So why would they do that? It takes a certain kind of guy to being a certain kind of guy to have women interested in you instead of you always having to show too much interest and then feeling bad when you get rejected because it's not returned, not reciprocated. So I started to figure out that it all starts with the inner game, and inner game is really important. So it's all the stories that you tell yourself about, I'm a sexy guy, women are interested in me. Whenever I talk to women, they want to be with me, and so they want to call me, and so if I give them my number or sometimes they ask for it, then they will do all the work. Okay? And I know that I used to lead women and try to, I'd be the masculine alpha male and I would lead them and tell them what to do and stuff like that. And this is the same thing. You're still doing that. You're just doing it in a different way. So you're still leading them, but you're leading them into chasing you. But you're still leading them. You're still being the man. You're still making the effort. You're still approaching. You're still talking. You're still being funny. You're still, helping them escape from their boring lives by hanging around you and doing whatever it is you do when you're talking to them. And it becomes this vibe that is so irresistible that they do all kinds of crazy things that they've never done before. Now, what we've been taught is that we can maybe make them do some crazy things, right? Because we know all the tricks and the techniques, and you can read everybody's book and stuff like that on that, and we've all got those things. But what if you didn't have to do any of that, and you could just show up at a place and hang out and talk to a girl that you think is super hot and have her interested in you, and then have her want to leave with you? And have her do all the work, and have her maintain the relationship, and have her continually trying to hook up with you and texting you saying, "Can we hook up tonight? Can we hook up tonight? Can I?" That's what we should all want. Right? We should all want the easy way, not the complicated way. And so what we've done as guys is we have overcomplicated everything. So I just want you to know when I'm talking about this other perspective for you guys to entertain or to have an option to have. I used to do it all the old way. So I did it the same way that you're doing it now or that you've done it, and all the same stuff has happened to me. So all the same bad stuff has happened to me. So I went through it all, and it was way too much work, and so that's basically how I got to where I'm at in teaching what I teach. So I'll kind of just go. If you guys have any questions, make sure you ask me questions. But I'll kind of go over what it is. When I first talk to guys, the first thing I say is stop pursuing women completely. No more pursuing women. No more chasing women. No more calling women. No more giving women compliments. No more anything that you would know. No dates. No dating. No dating. No traditional dating at all. None of it needs to be done. All of that is for us. We created that as a roadblock and a slow way to be with women and a slow way to hook up with women or get laid or whatever. There's a much faster path. And it's the path of least resistance, actually. In fact, the only person who would resist it would be you. The women don't resist it. You will resist it, probably. And I did it first, which is why it didn't happen very fast. And as soon as I started saying, wait a second, women will do this. They want to do it. They're waiting to meet a guy who's different than every other freaking guy they meet. Right? Think about it. You go out, I mean, you could just interview women and ask them what kind of guys they meet. Every guy says a version of the same thing. And then all we do is we try to compete with each other and be the better guy, be the stronger alpha male. Maybe if I'm a little bit different, she'll pick me. That's really not a way to go through your life. You should just show up as this incredibly sexy, cool guy that they all want to pick. That sounds like a much better way to me to live your life. But in order for that to happen, you have to get rid of some old habits, some bad habits, and you have to create new habits. So you can't pull women in if you're still pushing them. So that's what I always say. Stop all this bad behavior. Stop all this pursuing. Stop giving them power they don't even want. They don't want that power you're giving them. They don't want you to chase them. They don't. I can guarantee that they don't. And the minute that you actually believe that and you do the inner work and tell yourself all this stuff, they will start to do it. They will start to do it. And then if you just continually expect that and tell yourself that that is your life, all of a sudden there will be an avalanche of women who find you irresistible. And what I said earlier will make complete sense. It will almost be too easy. In fact, you will be tempted to make it complicated again because it's so easy. You'll say, how could it be this easy? Every guy on the earth would be doing it, but they're not. Because they don't think it's possible. And we keep selling it the other way. There's all these, images in the media and you're programmed that this is the way things work, but they don't work. If they worked, they would work. It's first of all, it's too much work. And if you give the idea that a woman might be attracted to you initially a chance, you will see all of this. You will see it happen to you. And then if you will keep it simple, then it will happen to you more. It will happen to you all the time. And the story that you guys should want to tell your friends about getting laid and meeting chicks and however you guys talk about it is you should want to tell the simple story. We all want to tell the complicated story, right? Because it makes us seem cooler to other guys and everything. We're like, oh yeah, I was in this place and these girls were standing there and they had like 4 big guys with them and they were all their boyfriends and there was a ring of fire around them. And I had to get through the ring of fire and get those phone numbers. It sounds like a great story. Everyone's like, dude, really? Seriously? That's the coolest thing ever. But the story that you guys should want to tell is where, oh, I just walked into this place and I walked over to the bar and some girl came over and said, do you want to go back to my place and have sex? Oh, okay. And that's the story you should want to tell. You shouldn't want to tell the thing where you had to jump through 19,000 hoops and still maybe get rejected and spend all your energy and all your money. You should just want to show up as this guy who is the true alpha male and the true strongest males, because the strongest males don't need to pursue women. They just don't. Women pursue them, period. You still can lead and you can still be the man and you can still do all those things that you think are important to you as a strong male and to make, everything kind of feel the same, but way more success and much easier success on a level that most of your friends would never understand, and even if they saw it, it would be hard for them because it's too simple. There must be something else that you're doing. You must have a gazillion dollars. You must be a supermodel. You must have some magic potion. But it's not. It's just simply getting it right in your head first and telling yourself this story. I kind of mentioned the inner game just a little bit, but that's the next part. So it's stopping all this bad behavior and instead replacing it with other behavior, like giving out your number. You still approach girls, you still talk to them. So it's that, and then you have to have the inner game part, and the inner game part is this daily story that you guys tell yourself, okay? You're already telling yourself the story right now. You have a story. If I say, what's your story with women? Whatever you tell me is, you've created a story, no matter what it is, and the reason that you keep living it is you keep telling yourself that story. I go out, and talking to women is sort of easy, but it's not really. And then what I do is I get caught up on this thing, and then some girl always rejects me, and I'm not confident. That's your story. Okay, and if you keep repeating that story, that's exactly how you'll keep living your life. It's really as simple as that, and it's super powerful. So if you just start telling yourself that you are, I'm sexy, I'm a sexy guy, women really want me, they really want to be with me. Every time they talk to me, they find me really interesting, and that they want to be with a strong male like this, and then they do this, and then they do that. And you tell yourself that story, and tell yourself that you're worth it, and that you deserve it, and some other, kind of self-help kind of things about your life, about why you truly deserve beautiful women in your life, and why you deserve it to be simple, and why you can have a choice rather than trying to be someone else's choice. You are always the choice. If you keep telling yourself that on a daily basis, 7 days a week, you will start to believe it. You will convince yourself, because really all this is about convincing. No matter what you're learning or whose method you're trying to learn or what book you're reading, really all of it's about convincing you. Right? So it's about you having some kind of belief system. And then, of course, results. You go out and you try stuff and you get results, and then you also figure out if it works that way. But a lot of it's belief. So it's based on your belief about your life. And it's probably the strongest thing. The techniques are fun, and we joke around about them, and we do all kinds of crazy stuff and fun stuff. But the reason that they work is because they're backed up by this super strong vibe. And this vibe that is undeniable, and it's irresistible, and it works almost every time. Does it work every time? No. Nothing works every single time 100%, but here's the deal. Also, when you're this guy, the times that it doesn't work, you don't care that it doesn't work. You're completely carefree about it. It doesn't matter to you. You don't feel like a loser. You don't feel less than, because you live this carefree life where this stuff always happens. And you realize that, all the things that you've been told about women and sex and all that kind of stuff is really just it's told to you so that you will continue to live attached to it and live in some kind of mind prison around it, okay? Because truly, you don't really need any of it. You've just been told that you need it. And I don't tell you that to discourage you. I want to motivate you, but it makes it more complicated when you're told that you absolutely need it. You need to sleep with 100 chicks, because then that would make you cool, make you a man, your friends. You don't really need that. And actually, the moment that you don't need to do that is when you sleep with 100 chicks. But they'll all be chasing you. So you won't have to do anything. All you'll do is just walk around your life, whether it's at Starbucks or the mall or the hotel bar, and you'll just walk around as this guy happening all the time, and women will be kind of throwing themselves at you. So that's kind of the basis of what I teach and what I do. And and obviously you can ask Christian or David or Daniel. They've been out with me. They've done some phone coaching with me. They've seen it. They understand it. And maybe from their perspective, in your language, they might be able to explain some of it to you clearly, or all the little nuances of it. But that's kind of it in a nutshell. And here's the thing. Unless you're open to taking on the perspective of letting women be interested in you and letting them pursue you a little bit, and back off on the over-pursuing and the desperate and needy vibe that most guys give out, me included. I used to do the same thing. Then a lot of what I tell you is not going to make as much sense. So it's kind of like, if you're open to a new option, open to a new perspective, then, all the stuff I could tell you would make, will make a ton more sense. But that's okay. I mean, you can do whatever you want. At the end of the day, it's whatever works for you, and whatever, I'm just here to offer you a new perspective, a different perspective, maybe something that will help you have a better life when it comes to women and talking. Because I don't like seeing any of you out there struggling when it comes to being in conversations with women. It's just, it's too bad that we have to do that. It's too bad that we have to be nervous and feel unempowered and stupid when we're talking to women. It's just ridiculous. I want to eliminate all that, and the way I'm trying to do it is to help guys be a little bit more interesting and come from like I said, another place. Because it's really hard to really just make someone interested in you if you are trying to push them so hard. If you're desperate and needy and creepy. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? You know what I mean? It's like, we've all been the needy, desperate, creepy guy, and we see them all the time. You can go to any nightclub or any bar, and you watch them. And you're one of them sometimes, but I mean, you watch them and you go, oh man, that's bad. So none of that needs to happen anymore. So with this kind of way of thinking and kind of flipping the script and doing things kind of the opposite, the backwards way, counterintuitive, however you want to think about it in your own mind, and just kind of maybe giving it a shot or just being open to it will really, I think, help take your lives to the next level. In every part of your life, by the way. It won't just be with women, which is what Christian kind of said at the beginning of the thing, is that we talk about women, and we focus on getting laid and getting chicks and being popular and having an enormous amount of women. But at the end of the day, if you really knew how unimportant that is, it would blow your whole mind. I mean, and that's what happens when you start to realize what I'm talking about, because it will open your mind to all kinds of things. You'll make more money, so you'll attract a lot more money, because money will be easy to make after this. Okay, because it's the same mindset. It's the same, like, you deserve money. You deserve to attract things to you. You don't always have to go after them and try to get them in a desperate way. You can still show up and be around it, but you want to attract it to you a little bit. So it'll help kind of every part of your life.
So what about the fun part of pursuing women?
The fun part?
Yeah.
What's fun about it?
I have fun with that.
You do?
Yeah.
Well, have fun just being cool, and you can still approach them and talk to them, but, I mean, you're making a game out of it? Is that what you're saying? And you like the game, the funness of it?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
Well, then.
just talking to them and,
Yeah.
and see how them react to you.
I have fun.
Not like techniques and stuff. Just
Yeah.
like, talking.
Well, it should be fun still. No, I get what you're saying. I mean, I have fun when I talk to girls, don't I?
Yeah.
I have a lot of fun. So, you can still enjoy it, of course, and have fun. You're just not there for the same reasons. You're not trying to get a specific result. And that's the tough part, is trying not to be attached to getting a specific result, and you'll actually have way more positive results when you do that. And you can still have a blast. We have a great time. Now, I don't want you to think this is all serious or anything. I talk about it in a serious way, but I'm kidding. We do all kinds of crazy, fun stuff. Like I said, you could ask these guys. We have a blast talking to women. So we still enjoy it. We're just not in it for the same thing anymore, which makes us way more successful at that when we realize that. And so every time we go out, we actually do have fun. It's not a job anymore. It used to be work, because I'd approach so many different sets of women and get results and then do this. And it was like, after a while, I think for me, it became kind of unfun. So I actually wanted to enjoy myself again, which is why I wanted to just relax about it and not worry so much about it. Oh, if I get laid, this means one thing, and if I don't, and if this girl likes me, and if she doesn't like me. And so I just had to as soon as I let all that go, everything started making sense to me, and I had a lot better time than I used to.
What I don't get is like, if you're in a nightclub and you see these, let's say, these hottie blonde
Yeah.
girl, what if she doesn't tell anything to you? Like, if you're standing there and she doesn't come to you.
Oh, she doesn't have to come to you. I'm saying that could happen. I mean, I think that we approach girls. We talk to them. We're standing next to them. We say, hey, what's up? How you doing? What's going on? Let's get this party started. I mean, we're crazy. We have a great time. So speak to them. Yeah. I mean, what's going to happen when you kind of live this lifestyle is that it'll be a mix of both. You're going to still approach women, and you're going to talk to everybody. But in the midst of that, women will be interested in you, and they will approach you. And they'll approach you when you're doing nothing. These guys have seen it. They'll come up and just talk to you. But yeah, this isn't about sitting in a corner and not doing anything. This is definitely, you still are out there. So you can still enjoy it. You can still not pursue, you can still talk to them, but you're not trying to get the same thing.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm making sense or not, but
Yeah, and by the way, it's not that you need to do something, okay, in order to like them, to them to like you. Because most of the people, when they go out, they just go out in order to get some girls to like them. But here's the difference. Brent, whenever he goes out, he has fun, he likes himself, and girls want him to like them. So this is the opposite of what most guys do. What most guys do is just go out with the mission, like the objective of the night, to get phone numbers, to get a kiss, to get a blowjob, to get whatever. And when Brent goes out, the mission of the girls is to get Brent's phone number, to get a kiss, to give him a blowjob, or to have sex with him. So this is the difference.
What are you saying is that you go out at night, you enjoy yourself.
Mm-hmm.
If you see a hot girl, if you want to open, you open.
Yes.
But just for have the fun. You are not there for pick up her.
It would be nice, and if it happens, and that's cool.
And if not, it's not.
If it not, it's okay too.
Your self-confidence makes that them, they want to get you because
Right.
they see a cool guy that doesn't want.
That's right.
They're only having fun, but you don't care about the results.
Yeah, but it's not that you're mean to them or that you don't care in a bad way to turn them off. They're actually turned on. So you're not being mean to them in that not caring. You're not saying, "Oh, get away from me." You're not doing that. But yeah, they've never met anyone who does that. You've got to understand that one of the reasons that this really works well is that it's so rare. If you asked a girl to talk about the last 100 guys who approached her, she won't really have anything new to say about any of them because they all did the same thing, they all had the same vibe. It's that one guy who was standing next to her and talking to her and then not talking to her and then maybe re-engaging again, but he didn't really care. That's the one she wants. And she never meets that guy. The reason that they keep standing around and waiting for guys is because they don't even know another kind of guy exists. But you're right, that's why it works. That's one of the powerful.
So you became a challenge for them. Okay.
That's maybe the reason why when you have a girlfriend, you are more successful sometimes. Or
Yeah, you have some
girls
of that
want
the
to-
girlfriend confidence, Every other girl is now
Happens to me,
interested in you, and you get in a fight with your girlfriend because some girl is staring at you at the bar. It's the same thing. You just don't have to have the girlfriend to have it. You can have many more options.
But that's the reason why women are very attracted to gay people? Could be?
Because of why? Because the guys aren't pursuing them?
Pursuing them?
Yeah, I've heard that before from a lot of women. That they wish that their gay male friends were straight, or that they met straight guys like that because these guys are not pursuing them, and these girls love them, and they wish they could sleep with them. So, I don't suggest pretending that you're gay or anything. Not that there's anything wrong with gay people. There's nothing wrong with it. I'm just saying that, but no, it's a good point. So yeah, so you're starting to get it a little bit. It's like this mindset of there's something very attractive about not caring. And I want to, well, to explain, something else came in mind that I think I just want to explain to you really quick. Another reason why it would work is that when most people go out, and most people in any room have a lot of problems, a lot of issues in their life, right? Maybe they don't like what they do for a living, they're not very good with dating or relationships or sex or love, they don't like their job, they have problems with their parents. My point is that when people are out, they're out to escape. And when you're being this carefree guy who doesn't really care, you're like a magnet to everybody because no one acts that way. Everybody has issues and problems, and if you will approach it in a way where you are helping people escape from those problems, you're not adding to them, which is I think what we do a lot when we're out, you're like a magnet. It's attractive in itself, even if you weren't direct with some girl, and even if you didn't show interest as you've been taught that you need to show, that attitude and that vibe in itself is attractive. In itself, just that. And then anything else you would do or be would be icing on the cake, sort of, would be extra. But in itself, because people don't meet carefree people. They only meet people who are angry about something, they need something, they're desperate, they want something from you. Those are what people meet, and nightclubs and bars are full of people like that. It's not their fault. Everybody's just trained that way. That's why you stand out when you're the opposite. And I'll say another thing, is that other guys are only your competition when you're doing what other guys do. When you do the opposite of what other guys do, you have no competition. You don't. And if the girl wants to go with them, let her go. Let it go. There's millions of women. You got to live a life of scarcity, not a life of. I'm sorry, not live a life of. Heads on wrong. You want to live a life of abundance. So we, as guys, we are attached to scarcity. We think that, oh, we never know where we're going to get laid again. We never know how I got to do it right now, which is fine. It's okay because life can be short, so you definitely want to live. But when you're just this other guy, there is no competition. You know, I mean, because they're not doing anything. And the girls will actually be interested in you, and those who are interested in the other guys, let them go, let them have them. Let the other guys do all the work. Just let them do all the work. And then you can do what you do, and what you do will be simple, what they will do will be complicated. And they'll still be doing the same thing 10 years from now. Right now, if I had stayed and did what I do, pursuing, I'd be like on this hamster wheel that I never go anywhere, but I'm always moving, and I'm always tired, and I have to keep it going. It's exhausting.
And do you tell yourself something when you get rejected?
Yeah, well, first of all, I tell myself that you know, all women like me, they all want to be around me, they're happy to see me when I come up, and they're excited, and you want to tell yourself that, so your story has to be that happens. And then in the moment that it happens, when you're actually telling yourself your story, you say, and I'm fine if they're interested in someone else, or they're doing something else, or they're up to something else, I'm totally fine with that. Instead of saying, I'm going to be angry when I get rejected. So part of that is definitely your story. That rejection doesn't bother you, because it's not really rejection. You know, the only reason you think it's rejection is because you've convinced yourself that it's rejection, and it's a word that you've learned, and there's a label on it, and this is what it means, and this is what it doesn't mean. And all this stuff is just created. It's all fake. None of it's real. All the stuff that we've been taught, all these concepts that have been, you know, kind of pounded into our head by our parents and society and the media, it's just all fake crap. All it does is make you a better consumer. That's all it does. None of it's real. So you have to realize this. And so even the ideas of, you know, man chases woman, monogamy, marriage, it's all fake. None of it's real. We keep it real by keeping agreeing that it's real, but that's the only way that it is. So you can change your whole story about your whole life, and your life will change. And if you do it consistently, can't do it for just 1 week, you need to do it every single day, so that you can create these new habits, and then you will start to see this evidence show up in your life. And I'll say another thing that when you were talking about nothing happening, you know, a lot of our resistance, and certainly this is what happened to me too, was that I was telling myself that I had all these things happening, but none of them were happening. So there was no evidence. So girls are always after me, they're always into me, they're always calling me, they approach me, they're propositioning me for sex, they're doing all this crazy stuff, but it wasn't happening for real. So I struggled with that for a little bit, and then I decided to embrace another concept about creating. So I realized that I could create all of this evidence in the moment that I'm telling myself that I have it. So if I stop worrying about whether I actually have it, then I might be able to have it. But if I keep saying, oh, I don't have it, it's not true, it's never going to happen, you know, why don't I have it? I need it. Then I go right back on the other thing. So you have to understand the concept of creation, that every word you speak, every thought you think, every word you write down, that's what's creating your life in the moment. It doesn't matter what happened 5 minutes ago, 10 minutes ago, last 8 times you went out, none of that matters. It's great from an experience standpoint, you learn from stuff, but that has nothing to do with what can happen in your life moving forward. So you have to understand the idea of creating. So you're creating that evidence as you're telling yourself that you have it. And then it starts happening. And then hopefully you build on it and you keep believing that you're going to be consistent and have this life, and then it just continues and continues and continues, and you just keep going to the next level. Because I used to have a really big problem with, I would be successful in something that I was doing with women for a little bit, like I said, and then I was not successful. And I couldn't figure out what it was. What it ended up being was my belief that I couldn't be successful all the time. Because when I was successful, I was pretty successful. So I convinced myself that I have to take the bad with the good. And I was inconsistently successful, and that's what I told myself all the time, which is why it kept happening, until I had this crazy thought about just telling myself that I was successful and not thinking about it as lying or faking it or whatever, and then it started happening.
Yeah, one of the things that maybe you can explain that I saw you in your videos, and is similar to the question that he made, is that you have learned it, or some things you have learned from average-looking guys that were doing things. Maybe I remember a story you told in one of your videos of one roommate that was shouting in the shower, like, saying, "I'm the man," or something like that. And you realize that those guys, because some people would think, "Oh, well, Bren is a very good-looking man.
Yeah,
he's
right.
tall." And I remember you in an interview from something explaining that you have learned from an average-looking guys that were less attractive than you, less handsome.
Yeah, and that's what made me listen to it, actually. Because there were a lot of things happening to these guys that weren't happening to me. And I thought, if it should happen to anyone, it should happen to me. Right? Because I figured, I'm a fairly good-looking guy. I know what I'm doing, but I'm not having this level of success. So there must be another secret. Because these guys were just very average-looking guys, shorter guys. Guys. Some guys are losing their hair. They're a little overweight. 30 pounds overweight. But they were having way more success with women than I was, and I couldn't believe it. I couldn't understand it. I was angry about it. Actually, I was like, "What? There's got to be a secret here." And what I found was that they all had this belief about themselves that they were hot and that women dug them and that all women found them irresistible, and they were just going to go with that story. Even though if you looked at them, you would say, "You're not a good-looking guy. You're not tall. You're not thin. You're not rich." But they didn't let any of that stop them. They all had this almost outrageous belief about themselves. And when we talk about stuff that's outrageous, that's not true, we get scared instead of embracing it. So I did have a roommate. I have thousands of stories, but I have this one roommate who would he would get in the shower every morning and he would start screaming in the shower. "I'm the man, yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker, I'm the man, chicks dig me, I make thousands of dollars, blah, blah, blah." I was like, I thought he was crazy. I didn't know what he was doing. I was kind of scared. I was like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Well, they're called incantations." He said, "I'm getting really excited about my life. I'm telling myself all these great things about myself, and I'm manifesting it, and it's going to happen. It's already happening." He said, "I'm happening," is what he said. "I'm happening." And I was like, wow, okay, it still seems a little strange to me. I don't know if I'm ready to do that. I don't know if I want to do that, because it sounds kind of weird, It sounds just strange. But you know what? I'll tell you, that's where a lot of the success is outside your comfort zone, in stuff that you wouldn't normally do. You guys already know this, because, if you never approached women and then you approach them, you know what it's like. But it's the same way everywhere else.
And what did happen to your roommate?
Well, what happened to him was, at that very moment, he had a very small job where he was not making a lot of money. He was single. He was just at the very bottom of his company. And what happened was his boss wanted to give him a raise and move him to another city, and he said no. And he said, "Well, how about some more money? And how about some more money? And how about this?" And so anyway, what ended up, he moved to this big city, became vice president of the company, making about 10 times what he was making. He married this beautiful supermodel chick. And I saw it all happen, and I was like, wow, that's amazing. Because if you look at him, it doesn't look like it could happen. So I had many friends like that, and then other guys I just met as acquaintances that I was really inspired by. But that's what inspired me the most, because then I knew for sure everything I'd been told was just crap. Clearly, I was watching them do it. And so if they're doing it, it must be possible. And so when I tried to put it together, they all had this really strong belief in themselves, and they all told themselves outrageous things. Chicks dig me. All chicks dig me. Girls come up and they just proposition me. And it was just ridiculous. But it worked. So, I mean, look, how can it be any more ridiculous than what you already tell yourself that's negative? I'm not worth it. I'm not good enough. Other guys have it better than me. Oh, we already tell ourselves all this crap that creates our life. So you just put in new information. Sometimes outrageous information. I mean, what do you have to lose? Try it. It's just a fun experiment. If something great and better can happen in your life and you can go to the next level, try it. It's up to you.
And the day that you are not in your best mood?
I tell myself that I am. Honestly, that's what I do. So,
Sorry, say again, please.
oh, he said, what do you tell yourself when you wake up and you're not in a good mood, in a bad mood? That's all a state change, and you can change that state anytime you want. You just have to realize that. And if you, in fact, you can go back to what my roommate did in the shower, okay? And I still do it now. I still do it, okay? But look, I stay out till 8 in the morning. I come back. I've got to do some stuff. I'm exhausted, but I tell myself I have so much energy. It's incredible. I get all excited like this, and then all of a sudden I've got this energy. So I just tell myself that my life is awesome and it's wonderful, and I have a lot of energy, and I'm healthy and happy, and you know, I have great friends and all kinds of stuff. I need to build myself up. And if you do that, it has tremendous effect. Anyone else? Any other questions? Anything else you think I should explain?
Well,
Anything else you want to tell them about our time together that might help?
you think
Anything that...
explain?
Oh, thanks, Dave. Well, I think being with you, even if you are not... okay, at first we were going out with Brent, and we saw that we saw him doing very different things, and always having girls staring at him, going to talk to him, going to just make out with you, and dancing very dirty. And even when at first maybe he was in a club, he was being very social, talking to everybody, sharing his fun, because you were having lots of fun, and they really got it. And we went to some bars where we go, David and I go often, and we were used to see people who are afraid of each other, and they are not really having fun. They are feeling the pressure that there are other people and what other people think about them. So they are in their heads, and we're so used to be in that place and think, yeah, you see people here, I'm not really having fun. It might be difficult to talk to people because they are not in a good mood. But we've been there with you, and we've seen things that we've never seen there. It was amazing. I mean, and you were dancing like with 3 girls at the same time there, and it was amazing. And everybody was shouting and screaming and having fun, and it was incredible. And other times, you were just relying on the bar, okay, at another club where nobody saw you before, okay. You were just there, without talking, okay, just confident, and girls approach you, and then later they ask for your phone number, and they asked you to live with them, and you did nothing. And it's not what you did.
I know.
It's not what you did. It's who you are.
That's right. It's who you are.
And this is sometimes it sounds too good to be true. Okay, because most of the people might think that, okay, yes, these excuses, these things, yeah, because Brent is experienced, he's good looking, he's tall, he's blah 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 blah, and people don't just forget about it because they think they can't do it. Okay, and actually it's something that comes from you, right?
You're the source.
Yeah.
Yep. So it wasn't really what we were doing when we were at these clubs and doing all these crazy things. It's who we were being that was more important. And I know it doesn't even sound that sexy, but it's like, who are you being? We were inspiring people. We were the source of. We were the party. We were having a great time. We were cheersing girls. We were dancing with them. We were just having the greatest time of our lives. And they all got caught up in it and wanted to be part of it. They didn't even care. They didn't care who we were, what language we spoke. None of it mattered, because it was a vibe, and they wanted to be near it, and they wanted some of it, and they wanted to know how we do it, whether we were talking to everybody or just sitting on a bar stool saying nothing. They felt it and wanted to be around it. And so it's really about inspiring them.
what I remember is that when we didn't realize, when we didn't care, and we were just doing our thing, having fun, and then I look around me and it was, wow, we're surrounded of women. I mean, there are 10 women around us. What happened? And it was our vibe, just our vibe. And maybe one thing that you can explain that maybe they will love to know about it is because it's more kind of technique. It's the mayor. Maybe you can explain the concept of the mayor because I think you showed us on Thursday night.
Yeah.
So it's more.
I have this concept of this technique called being the mayor, which means that you, no matter where you are in the world, you walk around and talk to people and have very short conversations, and then you dismiss yourself and leave first. Very powerful, because no one does it. And so whether you're in a hotel lobby or we were at this nightclub on Thursday night, I don't remember what it was, dance museum or whatever thing. So we're at this thing, and I don't know anyone, and I don't speak Spanish. But it doesn't matter. I know enough words. Hola, ¿cómo está? I mean, I know how to order beer and stuff like that. It's ridiculous. I don't let it stop me. So I walk around and I would talk to people. Talk to you, very short conversations. Hola, ¿cómo estás? Everybody likes to be greeted. Okay, so I just do that, and then say, I'm Brent. Nice to meet you. I switched to English. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm kind of switching back and forth. I have no clue what I'm talking about. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what I'm saying, actually. It's just I'm greeting them. I'm having a good time. And then I'm like, okay, nice to meet you. And I move on, and I go around and talk to the next person and the next group of people. Guys, girls, whatever. I'm talking to the promoter of the club. I have my arm around him. We're talking. He's like, oh, what's that? Buy shots for everyone. Right?
Yes.
I mean, it's like a whirlwind.
Yeah.
No one meets anyone like that. Everyone's terrified of each other and afraid to talk to each other, and all everybody wants to do is be inspired and get out of their shell and have a good time and celebrate life. And that's what they want to do. They just don't meet anyone who will allow them to do that. They only meet people who want something from them. So I think that's another reason. And I will pretend that I know people. Hey, good to see you again. How are you? How have you been? And then right after that, you leave, and it's really fascinating what happens, because people will come to look for you again, okay? They want to find you. And compared to the stereotypical pursuing and approaching sets of women and stuff, the difference is when you are after something, so you have success or failure, and you know it immediately. You either get turned down, blown out, rejected, or you get a phone number. But then there's nothing else that happens. When you're the mayor and you're walking around talking to people, having very short conversations, and you are leaving first, you can then go to them again and say, hey, well, how? And sometimes that's when it happens, right? Sometimes that's when you would give them your number, or they would want to hang out with you, or they will buy you a drink, or the girl will say, let's go home, let's go. So it doesn't even have to be that first time. It can. But the idea is that now everybody knows you or has met you, and so you're not afraid anymore, and they're not afraid anymore because they have someone to talk to, and it creates this entire vibe in the whole bar. And then everybody's excited and jumping and screaming, kind of like night before last or when we were at that opium bar or whatever.
Yeah.
We were dancing by ourselves, and then all of a sudden all these girls just came right out and started dancing, and they went crazy.
Yeah.
Because you're starting it up. You are the party. You're showing up as the party. You are the vehicle for escape. You are the sexy vibe. You bring it with you. And you cause it because you are the source of it. If you don't think of yourself as an extrovert, or you think of yourself as shy, or you don't want anything to do with any of that, you can have a tremendous power in just leaning back and relaxing in the right vibe without trying to use it as something or to get something. If you really are confident in it, you don't have to dance around and do anything. You can just, we just do both because we like doing it and we just have a great time. But I did all of it this weekend. We went back and forth. In fact, we did it. I just did it. I would stop being like helping people have fun for 10 minutes, and I would just sit like back on the bar and speak to no one. And then all of a sudden, girls would start coming up because they were to the vibe and of all of these guys, and we would start talking to them again, and then we would decide if we wanted to be excited or we wanted to just be chill out. You don't have to be anything you don't want to be. There are ways to have it happen. I think that, the thing is if I start really promoting the fact that you should go out and sit on a bar stool and do nothing, you will all use it as an excuse not to talk to people, and I really don't want you to do that. I really would like you to talk to some people. I mean, you could, but then that sounds almost too crazy. Like, go out, say nothing, girls approach you. That's really tough for most people to accept. So, we're always talking about the mayor and being social.
If you're not a nice person,
Mm-hmm.
if you're serious, if you like intelligent conversations, you have to force yourself to behave on that way and to go to a bar and say, hey, hello, because you actually don't want to say hello to somebody that you don't care about.
I see your
what
point.
you want is to
Yep.
speak about something worthwhile.
Yeah.
And so you have to force yourself. And that's not just being yourself and relaxing.
Well, I would say, do you really enjoy talking about those things, or is that you talk about them because that's what you know how to talk about? Like, if you're a very serious person, like you just said, I would say, how's that working for you? Is it working for you?
No.
Okay, or not? I don't know.
No, I have to behave as an idiot. And then I'm successful. Because the more idiot, the more successful I am. So it's something like I have to force myself to make my intelligence lower to be at the level of women.
Yeah, maybe.
And many guys that I see that they are very successful is because they don't say anything interesting. Is the more stupid is your conversation, the more girls like it.
Yeah, I think that we explain it that way to build on what I said earlier, was that we kind of help them escape, and so I think in that escape that we assume that escape isn't talking about world problems and stuff like that, even though they're important. I'm just saying that in that moment, escape is better, I think, and easier, and people are out letting off steam, having a drink, and they would rather do that, I think. Do you have another question?
Why you don't suggest to ask for phone numbers and go to dates? I think it's interesting. Again, you don't date anymore, you don't ask for numbers.
No. Women don't want to go on dates. They only go on dates because they only meet idiots who take them on dates. That's it. They don't meet any other guys. They don't want to go on dates. They just want to hook up with you. That's all they want to do. If you will let them, they'll do it all the time. But they don't meet anyone who does that. They only meet on people who take them out on that speaks slower?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
They meet guys who think that they have to take them on more traditional dates, more traditional courting procedure, but none of that is true. It only is that way because people still do it, but it's not. It doesn't have to be done. So the other part of not doing hard work anymore is that when they're interested in you and they're calling you or texting you or BBMing you or whatever they're doing, and they just want to hook up with you. They don't want to necessarily go out on a traditional date and marry you right away. They want to have fun, and so dating is really for you. That traditional dating is really for you, just like the 8-hour-long seduction process that I used to have was for me. I realized that the women didn't really need it. When they came over or we got together, they really wanted to get physical. But I was the one who was delaying it because I thought I had more steps. I have to create more steps. I have to make sure that when I make my move that she's not going to deny me. So I have to do more extra work and I have to touch her in a certain way. I was just making it way too difficult. And what I realized was that was all for me. And the moment that I realized that was all for me, I did 2 experiments back to back. I had 2 different girls coming over to my house one night after the next. And so I decided that instead of go through this several hours of seduction, that I was just going to make my move within the first 5 minutes of her being in my house and to see if it worked. So I did, and it worked. And then I thought, wait a second, do you mean that I have been wasting all my time, all these years, trying to seduce women and talk them into sex when they came over wanting it? They didn't need to be talked into it anymore. So then I started operating like that. And that's when I started figuring out, well then, I don't have to take them to dinner anymore. They don't even want to go to dinner. Wait, is it possible that they just want sex? Oh my gosh, if that's the case, I have to completely do things differently. So I said, well, I'm going to do no work. I'm not going to get their phone number. I'm not going to call them. If they want to be with me, and I know they do, then they can call me, tell me they want to be with me, and then they can come directly to my house, and we will hook up, and that is it. And then if they want to text me again and say, do you want to, hook up again, then I can decide whether I want to or whether I have another girl over or whatever. And that's kind of how I got into really not doing any of that work anymore. But I did all the experiments. I did all of the little things that you would need to do to prove it either way. So, not everything I tried worked, but that did. And then, also, for me, at the beginning, I almost didn't continue it because I thought, this is too easy. There's got to be some more skill to it because I've been told that there's lots of skill to it and this is very difficult. But I went ahead and just accepted that it was easy. I accepted that that's what they wanted to do. And just so you know, some of those girls that I did that with did become my girlfriend. So it wasn't just a one-night thing. So even if I wanted a girlfriend, I wanted to be with one girl, it still started the exact same way. They would come over for sex first, and then I would get to know them. It was an interesting backwards way that I had not been taught before. And so whether you are looking for a relationship or a girlfriend or, I don't know, whatever it is that you're looking for, it can all begin the same way. A lot of that pomp and circumstance, I call it, the traditional way, that's just all been created. And again, women will go out on dates and they will accept a date proposal because there's no one else doing anything else, right? They don't meet another guy who, this guy that we're talking about today, this kind of archetypal male, this true alpha male, he's very rare. So he's not walking around the Hotel Om all the time or Sudden or whatever the place is or Opium. It's a very rare occurrence. The only guys who are walking around those places are guys who are pushing and trying to control, and I need something and I want something. And then they will say, well, oh no, women want to do this. They want to go out on dates. You have to call them. Yes, you're making it that way. But if you would just let them be interested in you for once and just back off a little bit, you would see. They will do it. And then you will accept it. And again, you have to accept it in a way where you still believe that you're the man and you're the masculine one and you're in control and it's okay. That's all the stuff you can do. That's the power they want you to have. They want you to be empowered that way. They want to court you. They do. They do. We prove it all the time that they'll do it, and I'm not the only one who lives like this. A lot of those guys that we talked about who were very inspirational to me, they're still around and they are still attracting women the same easy way that we do it, and they are of all different shapes and sizes, and so they're just average guys who are doing it.
I get what you're saying, but I found out that there's a sort of girls that even though they like you, with her ego doesn't let her come to you because it's like they don't feel like going after you.
That can be true if that's how you believe, but it's not necessarily true. That's your experience.
Yeah, kind of.
Right, yeah. So I'm not putting you down for it. I'm saying that's your experience. So yeah, and look, we could sit here all night and talk about how women are programmed to only do this, right? And not every woman's going to do this, and they want the man to take them and take them. Okay, but if you believe that, then that's exactly what will happen, right? Some girls won't do it. Now, I'm not saying that all girls will do it 100% of the time, but I'm saying that if you were to have more women be brave enough and inspired enough to come after you, you would have to believe it's possible first, with all of them, especially the super hot ones. especially the younger ones, or whatever it is that you would normally resist, that's what you would need to believe. You know, as crazy as it might sound to you, the beginning of that happening to you is that crazy belief. All women will come after me. All women chase me. All women, you know, as like I said, as kind of funny as that sounds, that will give you access to that level. And if you don't do that, you will just continue to live whatever your limiting belief is, right? So if your belief could be, very average-looking women who don't have very many options, they will call you, but not the hot ones because they have too many men pursuing them and they have too many options. Okay, if that's how you believe, then that's going to be your experience. It's not my experience. My experience is that the hotter they are and the younger they are, the more they pursue me. And I live that life all the time, and so do all my friends. So I want your life to be easier. You know, I want your life to be easier. I want you to have everything you want and have your life be easy and have the woman thing be very simple for you. You all deserve it. You should be able to have any woman you want. And so, hopefully giving you a few insights on how that may be accessible to you, and then you can decide whatever you want to do with it. But it will all be based on your belief about it. Right? So like I said at the beginning of this, if you just think that women pursuing men is just never going to happen, it's ridiculous, that's how you'll do it. And that's it.
I believe what I found out that some girls, they thought about me with her friends, but with me they are like they kind of like they don't want to show up that they are interested.
Okay.
So I don't as they don't want to show me that they are interested, they don't go after me. So if I don't go after her either.
Yeah.
So it's like.
And you have to be. I mean, do you need every woman? I mean, that's the other thing. Do you need every woman to be interested in you? That's one thing I'd say. But the other thing I'd say is it's usually you. Usually it's you. Okay. So when I say that maybe nothing works 100% of the time, maybe even though it may not be my fault, what happens, what I go back to is that most of the time I have to take responsibility for even other people's behavior who are around me, because I'm affecting them in some way. I'm either inspiring them or I'm making them angry or whatever, but I take that responsibility, and that's part of what, I know that's not your experience. So I get that, and that's real for you. So you should still be, if you still wanted women to chase you, you'd have to believe that they all will, and you'd have to let that other story go. And the other fear of, okay, well, if she won't chase me and I don't chase her, then nothing happens and we don't get to, so what? Why do you need something to happen? If you're going to be attached to something happening all the time, your whole life is going to be like that, and you are going to suffer. I mean, you're really going to suffer. That we could talk about attachment all night. Everything you're attached to will cause you to suffer, period. So you've got to decide what's your appetite for suffering.
Right, it's the same process to approach a young girls to young girls, 24, 25. It's the same process to approach to a woman from 32, 33, 35 years.
Yeah, I mean, we pretty much say
because I'm putting
the same thing.
I think, okay, I'm 38,
Yeah.
and I think young people, they don't want to be interested in a man on 38,
Yeah.
and I think, okay, I am not interested in young people, but I put a limitation.
Yeah, you do. You do. How old was that girl, Opium?
Oh, yes, very, very young people.
20 maybe,
20? And how old am I?
46.
46. So my belief could be that, that women will not be, younger women would not be interested in me. Why would they? What do I have to offer them? I mean, they can go out with all kinds of young guys who look better than I do, and they're younger, and they don't have, I have a little gray hair. I could talk about myself all night and think it's bad. I choose to believe that it's all the same. Because I know the power of my belief about it, which then causes it to all be the same. So yes, that roadblock is in your head. And so the same process and everything else we've been talking about tonight is same process. It's all based on your belief. And once you believe it, then it might start happening for you, but not until. You know, I get that question a lot from older guys, actually. They think, oh, the younger girls won't talk to me. Why would they? Why would they be interested in me? I'm too old. They've got all these other options. But that's only because you're making that statement that that's the truth. Good question, though. Any other questions?
Maybe you could explain because you never reach out to girls, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And what's your experience with being getting, I don't know, text messages from girls, or how do you handle after you've met them?
Mm-hmm.
What's happened next?
Well, I do very little conversation. Short sentences, small words. So I continue building a sense of urgency to get together with me, rather than writing 4 paragraphs when a girl, you know. So in other words, I appreciate the fact that she's reaching out to me, but I'm not that excited about it. I'm okay with it if she wants to reach out to me, but I'm not going to get drawn into the non-stop back and forth text messages or IMing or something. To me, your phone or whatever is a meeting planning device. It is not a conversational piece. So you shouldn't be having any conversations on your phone. It should just be about getting together. It should only be about getting together. And if your only criteria is that you will only get together with women who reach out to you, and that's the way that it is, then that's the only women you'll start attracting to you. And then when those messages come in, I think when a girl meets me from my vibe, they realize that I am not the other guy. They know that I'm not the guy who's going to take them out. And it's very clear. I don't say it to them, by the way. I don't ever have to tell them. Just being around me, they get that that's not how I operate, and they're fine with it, or they're not. A lot of times they are. And so then they will reach out to me. And so if they reach out and say, hey, what are you doing? I'll tell them exactly what I'm doing. I'm working or chilling out. I don't say, I'm chilling out. You know what we should do is we should really get together and go. Because then I'm being a pursuer again, and I get right sucked back into that whole thing of all that work. So I'll wait one more. They'll say, okay, so should we get together? I say, oh, you want to get together? Oh yeah, I might be able to get together. Yeah, Tuesday night, 8 p.m. my place, drinks. And then I just send my address, and that's all I do. And that's it. If I want to. Now, I don't do it to every girl, obviously, but if I want to, if I'm not busy. And it is up to them to do all of the work. Because my criteria is, the only women who are allowed to be with me are ones who chase me. I have a criteria. I do not entertain any other type of girl. And I know that would be a jump for a lot of guys, a very big risk for a lot of guys, but once you take it and once you're living it, there is no other lifestyle, because why would you want to do any work? After you prove it to yourself, after you've got some evidence that this is possible. So that's a good question. I maintain the being congruent with that same vibe. So in other words, when they text me or message me, I don't then start pursuing them. I never pursue them. So they can't even make me pursue them. So I'm still being standoffish. But I'm letting them get together with me. I mean, I'm saying, oh, you want to get together? Yes. So, you know. And if they send me like 4 messages and it's not about getting together, I will then say, I suppose you want to get together, with a question mark, and I will send that. And then that will tell me immediately if this girl's going to keep wasting my time, or if she's going to get to the point, or if she's just going to come over to my house, or whatever. So I can stop that ongoing messaging that just wastes so much time with, between guys and girls. And so that's the deal. And they really, and women really should kind of have to hunt you down. They should have to kind of, figure out where you're at, and how do they reach you, and how can they find you, and
compete with other girls.
And compete with other girls for you. That's, to me, that's just my opinion, but to me, that's a better lifestyle. I didn't enjoy pursuing and getting turned down and all that stuff. I don't want to do that anymore. I'd rather just, it's kind of like, I want to say that when a woman will reach out to you, they are pretty much sold. You don't need to sell anymore. Because they're interested. Why would they reach out to you if they weren't? Most of them don't reach out just to have conversations, even though they might be programmed. You go right to the hooking up. So, hope that explains it. I don't have any long conversations. I don't email with them. You know, they can contact me. They reach out on my BlackBerry, on the BlackBerry messaging thing, and they will send me texts. But I also train them all by responding in certain ways or not responding to how I should be communicated with. So if someone were to say, let's just say a girl didn't understand what I was talking about, and she says, so, are we going out to dinner? I wouldn't even return the message. So, you see what I mean? I'm not going to even tell her no. I'm not even going to get involved. Obviously, I've sent the wrong vibe, and I don't need to fix it. I don't want to fix it. It's too much work to fix it. I'd rather just, hang out with someone else. Remember, it's abundant. There are abundant women in the world. They're not scarce. So.
The same thing if you are in a club, talking with a girl, a hot girl that you like, and finally, if she didn't ask you the phone number, you just leave, say, oh, goodbye?
No, you can mention taking your phone number. So if she doesn't always have to be the one that asks for it. We should have said that in some of these conversations, and this will speak to what kind of he was wondering about over there, is we keep our conversations very light, and we keep them about fun and partying and escaping. And so we will say stuff like, what are you doing for the rest of the evening? What are you guys up to? What's on the plan for the weekend? What's on the agenda for tonight? What place are you going to next? And we're just having conversation. And then within that, they'll tell us, and then they'll kind of ask us, and then we'll say, oh, you know what? We don't know. I don't know what I'm doing, but I don't know. Just shoot me a text if you want to know where I'm at. And then a lot of times they take out their phone and take the number and give me a text. So I don't always wait for them to ask. You don't have to do that. That's kind of like sitting on the bar stool and saying nothing. I mean, you have to be kind of have a great vibe to have that happen to you. So you would do both.
If you don't take off, the phone, you have to be okay with that.
Yeah, you don't want to tell them to take out their phone. Please take out your phone. Do you have a phone? Okay, let me put my number in your phone. You don't want to do any of that. You just want to, let it happen. You can be at cause, like I said. If they're not doing it, you can do it. But that would be it after that.
Do you have any real example from your BlackBerry that you would like to share?
I don't know. Maybe. Let's see.
How many messages have you received during this weekend?
1, 2, 3, 4. Show them to you. 5. And it's stuff like they will, and these are girls we met throughout the weekend that we were just partying with. So we weren't trying to get together with them. They were just part of it. We have this whole party group that we build as we go through the weekend, and all these people want to get involved and meet up with us. And we don't. It's not like we're not trying to hook up with all these girls, but we have all these girls surrounding us, and it's kind of fun. So they'll just send messages back and forth that say, "Let's get this party started. Where should we meet you? Okay, come to my hotel." Stuff like this. And it goes on and on. So probably 5 of the messages from the girls, and 5 different girls, and 2 of them were 22 or 23 years old. One of which came to my hotel room.
I remember the black girl that was following you.
Oh yeah, that girl. Oh my God.
And
yeah.
I think you told her, no, I don't want to go with you.
She must have. She asked me to leave like at least 3 or 4 times.
But she didn't understand because she came to me and asked, "What are you doing next? Or what? Who's your friend?"
Yeah, I kept saying no. I don't want to leave right now. I'm having fun with my friends. I don't want to leave. We're dancing and having a good time. No, I know, but I just want to let you know that I will leave anytime you want to leave. I said, yeah, I heard you the first 14 times. I get it. okay, you want to leave, but I don't want to right now. I'm going to hang out with these guys, and we're going to party, and I didn't come here to just walk in and leave.
So the papers were changed.
Huh?
The roles were changed.
Roles.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's what the roles change. You flip the script, so you become the hot woman who all of the men are trying to chase, right? And begging you to leave, and we should get together. And do I have your phone number? I don't know. Do you? Yeah, well, I would want it. Let me find my phone and give it. It's like they're all crazy. Like it's like it's very important. So yeah, she must have followed us around all weekend. That one, we saw her like 3 times.
Yeah, and she was, because you told her that you were at Odelon, she
Oh,
was
that's
waiting
right.
for you at the lobby.
Yeah, she was waiting for me in the lobby. So
It's true.
that's how powerful this is when you do what no other guy does. No one's ever seen it before, and they're like, well, then I must go find him. I have to go find him and figure it out. Why is he ignoring me? I mean, they'll just follow you around. Yeah, she was waiting for us in there.
What's your relation with alcohol? So do you drink when you
Yeah,
go out?
I do. All the time.
Oh,
And I drink a lot, a ton. And I can drink so many beers, and I've been doing this for 25 years. Doesn't affect anything I do.
It's the same.
But
Exactly the same.
You did the experiment of not drinking at all.
I did. I did an experiment for 3 years of no drinking at all. And I went out to the same nightclubs, and I stayed out all night. Went out till 5 in the morning, 6 in the morning. I went to Las Vegas. I traveled to Europe. Everything. I did all the things. Same results. You know, I just enjoy drinking socially with my friends, so I do it. But I don't have to, and you don't have to. You can do anything you want. You know, a couple of the guys on the weekend didn't drink very much, you know, or hardly at all, and it was fine. It's more of a vibe. It's more of a crutch if you think it's a crutch.
I think that this is important for learn all this pickup wall, because sometimes if when you start and you drink, normally you feel more confident if you are a little bit drunk,
Yeah.
and I think that sometimes can happen the problem that if a person who's starting and drinks when he goes out, finally he starts to think that he needs 3 beers for approach a woman
Yeah.
or talk with the people, and in fact you can, I don't know, pick up the girl who's selling you a T-shirt or during the day in the street,
Yeah.
in the bus, in the subway, everywhere.
Yeah. So, I mean, and that's really one of the reasons that I did the experiment with not drinking, just to see if that was the case, right? So can you do it without alcohol? I didn't want alcohol to be a crutch either, so I wanted to make sure that it wasn't, because I wanted to remove every crutch and every excuse and figure out what was this really about. So yeah, you're right. A lot of guys use it for that. And if they're not drinking, they can't talk to women, so that's true.
Just
But
an
you...
appointment about that. I think it's very important for learn.
Yeah, I think it is important to learn that you can do it without drinking. I mean, you guys weren't drinking all weekend, right? For some of the time.
When I went out, I wasn't drinking because I had to work.
Yeah,
So
and it's fine. So neither is a requirement. You can do whatever. But I would say yes. I would say a guy who uses the alcohol as a crutch probably shouldn't, and he should learn the other way. Yes.
well, what do you suggest to have this to not have anxiety of approaching if you're not drunk? I mean, because when you're drunk, is what he said. I mean,
Yeah.
You are present. You don't worry about the future or the past, and you don't worry about yourself. So you just see a girl and you go, "Hey, how are you doing?" But when you don't drink, do you suggest any?
Well, I suggest doing it anyway, approaching anyway. You got to get some practice. You got to just turn and say hello to someone. How you doing? And you've got to struggle through it, even if you fail. You just get pushed through it, and because that's how you learn. That's how I did it when I stopped drinking. I was a little scared at first because I thought maybe I won't be able to do it, and it was tough the first couple times, keeping the energy going, keeping the conversation going. And then I thought, what am I doing? I should just relax and chill out. And then I built more confidence, but I had to keep going out and doing it. So practice is really important. And then I did the mental thing. It's what you tell yourself is super important too. So there's always a couple parts to it. But I would just go to a place and do it. You know, That's what I would say. And it's all the same stuff. You can still be funny. You can still relax and chill out. You know, you can have all the same kinds of conversations. You just need to have them to realize that you can. And then once you do that, you'll be fine with it.
And do you make solo surgery?
Do I do what?
Going out alone.
Oh, do I go?
Sure,
Yeah,
being
I go out
alone.
alone. Sure. Yeah. When I travel a lot, sometimes I'll be in town a day or two early, and so I will. I often am meeting girls in my hotel bar, or I will even go to a kind of a bar lounge myself. Yeah, because I will talk to anyone. So, you know, I even talk to guys who are standing at the bar. I will just say hello, whatever, strike up a conversation. So I'm pretty friendly, and so it always seems to work out. And
With women.
yeah, with women, it works out pretty well. I mean, I think yes, exactly. So
But with men too, because maybe for business or something.
yeah, I think in general, attracting people to you who want to be around you can have a lot of great effects on your life for money and business and stuff. But I find that the moment that women really find that you're okay being out alone, they really find it okay, and they are attracted to that. I think people in general are amazed that you can be out alone, because most people would be terrified. I used to be terrified. The thought of it would just, make me nervous, because you think everyone's looking at you, and if you're just sitting there, you can't just sit there. You got to say something to someone, or you look stupid, right? So I had to get over that whole thing. I had I've had some of the best nights of my life going out alone. Because I reframed it as, it's easy, and people love when they find out I'm out alone, and they want to party with me, and they want to take me places, and so I got invited to all kinds of things, invite people, and had met new friends, and just giving up my fear of going out alone.
All this comes from your confidence, about your belief in yourself. So could you give some advice about how do you get this confidence, and how do you build this confidence?
Yeah, okay. So
Some ways that people can learn from it.
I think certainly by going out and practicing, you would build confidence, obviously. So there's the part where you go out and you get some evidence from the field and stuff like that. But I think one of the basic things you guys should be doing is you should rewrite your story, whatever your story is, the story about your life, or not your life, but it doesn't have to be a long one. But something, if I say, what's your story like with women? Tell me what happens. And then you proceed to tell me how it is for you. I would take that story and I would write a new story, but in the present tense. So as if all of those things that are bad are now fixed. So you have everything that you want, but you write I'm a confident man. Women and people love when I'm in the room. They are inspired by me because of my confidence and all this kind of stuff. And you can throw anything you want in that story, and you want to tell yourself that you already have it. You have it right now, not 6 months from now, not 2 months from now, but you have it right now. And if you will take that story, and you will you make it, don't make it too long. You want to only be doing it for like 3 to 5 minutes in the morning, and about 3 to 5 minutes in the evening, and you can go and stand in front of the mirror if you want in your bathroom or whatever, and you can read your story, tell yourself your story. And then you start visualizing it. Visualize what being confident would look like, or having the stuff that you want, and then you get really excited, like my roommate. And if you will do that 7 days a week, first time when you wake up and right before you go to sleep at night, and then you could think about it if you were having doubt or negativity during the day, or you were having a problem during the day, you could think about your story again. And that's the baseline for being confident and being everything, and being the archetypal male, and having women dig you and making more money. It all begins with that. And as long as you realize or accept the concept of creating, because there's not going to be any evidence right away of what you're telling yourself in your story, right? There's not going to be any physical evidence necessarily. If you understand that idea, that concept of creating, then all of a sudden it's going to start manifesting. It's going to start happening. And so I think with that inner game covered, and then still going out and being social, I think those are the two parts. And in your story, you also want to put in any other things about your life that you're unsure about. So you want to put in there, I deserve it. I deserve great things. I deserve great women. I deserve more money. I deserve to be successful. I'm happy. I'm very happy. I'm courageous. I'm carefree. People love, they're inspired by it. I'm always in a good mood. Anything that you want to address, that you're having a problem with, put that in your story. And it will change your whole life. And it will. And all of a sudden, all these crazy things will be happening to you, and successful things. And then when you go out and you walk around the world, you'll start seeing evidence of it, because people will give you stuff. People will want to work with you. Women will want to be with you. Everybody will court you. Not just women. Everybody will try to court you. They will come after you. They will try to get you to work with them. They will try to hire you at their company. Because if you think about it, that guy is so rare, the one who's kind of elusive that no one can catch, that everybody wants that person. They want some of it, and they'll do anything to get it. So that's how I would start it. It's very important. It's like the baseline of everything that you do is that story.
There are some people here, some attendees, who have girlfriends.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what's your advice to them about how to?
I'm very sorry to hear that you have girlfriends. Wow, I don't know.
Wow, Brent. Wow. Why?
So what's the question about girlfriends?
Yeah. So the question is for guys who are in a relationship, and this sounds very good, but they love their girlfriend and they want to stay with her.
Okay.
What's your experience about how to keep the power in the relationship?
Yeah, you always have to keep it.
In which ways?
It has to, well, it depends on what your relationship with your girlfriend is right now. So if you, I don't know how it started out, but if she's got all the power that she doesn't even want, you'll never get it back. She's just going to cheat on you with someone who's not being you, who's being someone more powerful. That's what's going to happen. You've got to take the power back. That's why a lot of these relationships don't work. I mean, there's several reasons that some of them don't work when they don't work, but some of it is the way you start out. So if you've pursued a girl and you're after her and you're after her and you're after her, and you'll always have to do that. There won't be a time where you don't have to do that. And again, it's exhausting. Even after 5 years or whatever, it's exhausting, you know? And if you listen to them when they tell you you need to change certain things about you and stuff, the moment you change anything about you is when they'll go look for someone else with that old problem you used to have. I don't know if I said that too fast, but it's like anything women ask you to fix, when you fix it, they will then go look for another man with the same problem. They will, because it's not about fixing you, but they don't know that. They've been told that you must fix someone. You must make them into someone who they are not right now. You must fix them. They spend their whole time trying to fix you. And then they're no longer attracted to you. Because you don't have any more problems. You don't have any more power. They have it all, and then they will go look for someone new. So I'm telling you, be nice to your girlfriend, of course. I mean, be in a good relationship and all that kind of stuff. But I really wouldn't change anything about you. I mean, unless you have some kind of extreme disorder that I don't know about. But other than that, I would say, be who you're being. And if you're doing any fighting, any arguing, any bickering, having to explain yourself, that is all stuff you don't need to be doing. You should be able to do whatever you want, whenever you want, with whoever you want. And if that's not your relationship, I don't think it's going to work out too well. That's just my opinion. You've got to have relationships in the traditional way are very confining, and they don't need to be, because we're attached. So that's all. If you want to have a healthy one, then just make sure there's a healthy balance of power. Not that again, it's I can tell you very stereotypical things about them, but I don't know how you entered a relationship. So if you told me that, then I would say, oh, well, here's the issue. You're going to have to clearly do this other thing because you've now given her, way too much power, and neither of you will be happy. It's not just about you. It's also about them. They wake up one morning and they go, oh, I'm not happy. I thought this would make me happy. I thought this is what everyone was supposed to do. A lot of people wake up like that. Seriously. If you ask people who are in relationships or married, or you're maybe friends of yours who are now divorced or whatever, they just wake up one morning and they don't even know why they were ever interested in that person. Probably because someone told them that it was time to get married. It's time to settle down. Most of your friends are settled down and getting married. You should do it too. Well, you don't want to end up old and alone, do you? What happened if you were old and alone? I'd be free and excited if I were home alone. I mean, that's the plan. The plan is to have no one bugging me. So I think that's what people wake up from that. They all of a sudden, you've got all this social programming, and one day you wake up and you go, "Oh my gosh, what did I get myself into?" I love my girlfriend, but I should be like much happier than this. And clearly, there's something going on, and it's really not you. It's all the stuff that we kind of take in and believe that's true, and then we do it just because everyone else is doing it, or we do it because that's what everyone else does. That's the way our traditions are, our culture, customs. But then look around. What are the results? Who's happy? Who's really happy? Even if people stay together, are they truly happy, or are they just settling for less than what they could actually have? And are they making the best of a bad scenario, a bad situation? Most people are making the best of a bad situation, but they might be too lazy to get out of it, or move on, or do something, or they're too old, or let's just stay in it, or we have to do it for the kids, because we have kids now, so we have to do it for the children, and stuff like that. All the same excuses people have been making for a long time. I'm not making any judgment call. You can do whatever you want with your life, but just make sure you're happy in your life, and that's the bottom line. And if you're not, then change it, and do something different. And don't worry about what happens. Just do something different. I mean, don't hurt people, but do something different. Be happy.
Some of your friends are in relationships with a great woman.
Yeah.
And they might have an open relationship.
Yes, some of them do. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they've figured out that to be able to do what they want to do, they need a very understanding woman. And from the very beginning, they don't try to pretend that they are anyone they're not. They are saying, "This is me. I like being single. I don't really need anyone. So if you want to be with me, you have to understand that I'm okay being with you or not being with you. Either way would be fine, but this is who I am. This is what I do. And you're either interested or you're not. And this is how I do it." And not making excuses or defending yourself or trying to change. And so the guys who are in more successful relationships now, they have that agreement with their girlfriend or their fiance or their wife, and when it works out, okay, because they are a little bit more independent, not completely independent, or you wouldn't be in a relationship, but they're a little more independent than most people. So they still love each other, but they are not attached in a negative way to each other that brings on negativity. They appreciate and respect each other, and they're passionate about each other and stuff like that, but it's all positive. And they're fine not being with each other too. They're fine doing their own thing and going their own place and hanging out. And so that's a healthier way to live than trying to control someone or be controlled or have to know what everybody's doing. I don't think you should let someone step on you or treat you badly. I'm just saying that if you both have an agreement where you're going to treat each other well, then yeah, I think these guys have figured out. I also think the women understand about my friends that they're really not ever going to kind of settle down completely. I think that they just want to, and the way for them to settle down is to tell them that they don't have to settle down and that it's okay if they don't, and then the men are happier. If your girlfriend's always saying, "You need to settle down, you need to stop doing this and that," you will want to resist it, But these girls have said, "Oh yeah, do whatever you want. Yeah, that's fine. It's fine. Yes, I understand. Do whatever you want." And for men, we're like, "Okay, I could do what I want. That's cool." I mean, we're not always going to do it, but we want to know that we could if we wanted to, right? So if you decided that, not that you would, but if you knew that, hey, my girlfriend would be cool with that. That's a cool girlfriend. Yeah, okay. So I'm happy staying with her, because I know that if I really needed to do something, I could do it. That's a much better relationship. Most people don't have that, but so yeah, the guys are. A few of them are married now, so this isn't only about living like the single life forever or whatever. You can choose whatever you want to choose. The reason that I really spend my time out here talking to guys and stuff and doing what I do is, no matter what you do, I just want you to know that you have more options and that you should really be thinking before you do something. So when I say to you, "What do you want?" I want you to think of what it is that you want, and then why do you want that? Is it really what you want, or is it what you've been told you should want by another guy, your parents, society? Why do you really want it? No one ever, oh, but I don't know, because I just do. That's what everyone does. That's not the right answer. The right answer is, why do you, to look at, why do I really want it? Maybe my parents wanted it for me. Maybe my girlfriend wants it for me. Maybe, wow, I really don't want that. So you find out things about yourself. And that's all I always ask people to do, is just take a moment, instead of making that quick decision and, making a mistake in your life where that could last for many, many years, just think. You have options. You don't have to do what everyone else does. Or you can find a new way to do what they're doing, but have it be healthier and better and everyone be happy and so on. So it's one of my whole things is that, I joke a lot about relationships and stuff and the things that men and women do because it's funny to talk about. But at the end of the day, do whatever works for you. I just don't want you guys being unhappy within that. Like, I don't want you to be miserable, and I don't want you to have to be miserable either. There's no way to go through life. I want to be happy. Have fun. Be serious when you have to be serious. Be responsible. But either way, you should be having fun right now. While you're thinking about it, or while you're waiting to see what happens. You should be having a blast and living it.
Thank you very much, Brent.
Thank you, guys.
Okay.